On a July night in 1994 in Scottsdale, Arizona, Angela Marie Maher, just 21, was heading home after a simple act of kindness, a ride for a friend, but in a cruel twist of fate, her path crossed with that of a drunken driver whose recklessness would shatter lives and evade justice. Angela Maher was born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona. Her father's untimely demise in 1991 left a void in her life, but Angela and her family continued to support one another with resilience and love. In high school, Angela's caring nature became evident through her active involvement with students against drunk driving, a movement she embraced passionately after losing a close friend to a drunk driving accident by 1994. Angela was a senior at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska, where she continued to excel academically and personally. In late July 1994, Angela returned home to Scottsdale for a brief visit intending to celebrate her mother Rosemary's 57th birthday. After the birthday celebrations were over, Angela set out at around 10 p.m. in her mother's white Oldsmobile to pick up a friend from a local bar Sticks. Before returning home, Angela drove southbound along Scottsdale Road, heading toward her destination, but unbeknownst to her 31-year-old Gloria Schulze, was leaving a bar called Thunder and Lightning. Gloria, having consumed a considerable amount of alcohol, was visibly impaired as she got behind the wheel of her maroon van. Moments before the collision, Gloria van traveling in the opposite direction as Angela's drifted across the center line. Despite Angela's attempt to warn Gloria with a horn blast, the driver of the van failed to correct her course. The two vehicles collided violently, with Gloria's van slamming into Angela's car and driving over it. The crash occurred just 5 minutes from Angela's home. The impact was catastrophic. Angela, who was not wearing her seat belt, suffered severe blunt force trauma to her head. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but the severity of the crash meant there was nothing they could do. Angela was pronounced deceased at the scene. As the news spread, Rose Maher, who had been anxiously waiting for her daughter's return, was met by police officers shortly before 1 a.m. They informed her that Angela had been in an accident. The heartbreaking news that her daughter's life had been cut short by a drunk driver was just the beginning of a prolonged and painful fight for justice. Gloria remained at the scene, and her condition was evident from the start. The police noted her bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, and the strong odor of alcohol. A breathalyzer test revealed her blood alcohol content to be 0.15, well above the legal limit, and traces of marijuana were also found in her system. Despite these clear indicators of intoxication, the legal response was astonishingly lenient. Gloria was not arrested immediately, but was instead taken to the hospital for treatment of her injuries. This decision sparked outrage and confusion within the Maher family, who struggled to understand why Gloria remained free while they were to bury their daughter. The legal proceedings then commenced, with Gloria facing charges of manslaughter and reckless endangerment to employing a high-priced attorney. Gloria's defense team succeeded in obtaining 6 postponements of the trial. Throughout this period, Gloria was ordered to submit to substance testing and report to the court weekly, but she began to miss appointments and failed to comply with these requirements. As the trial date approached in April 2001, Gloria Schulze began preparing for her escape within weeks of the scheduled court appearance. She sold 2 of her vehicles and liquidated her credit cards, making her departure less conspicuous. By the time the trial began, Gloria had vanished. Her empty seat in the courtroom sparked the beginning of a nationwide manhunt. Gloria's disappearance was a severe blow, leaving the family with a profound sense of betrayal and frustration. Despite extensive effort, including features on America's Most Wanted and various national media outlets, Gloria Schulze remained elusive. In the spring of 2024, a breakthrough in the long-buried case of Angela Maher's perpetrator surfaced, delivering a shockingly unexpected twist. For decades, Gloria Schulze had evaded capture by fleeing the country and reinventing herself. The cold case had seemed destined to remain unresolved until an anonymous tip led investigators to a surprising discovery. The breakthrough came after an anonymous source reached out to the Scottsdale police, directing them to a news article that had been published in Yellowknife, Canada. This article was an obituary for a woman named Kate Dowley, who had lived in Yellowknife and had passed away from cancer in December 2019. The article detailed Dee's life in Canada, including her involvement in local community events and her work in the mining industry. The name Kate Dowley was a significant clue. Through further investigation, it became evident that Kate Dowley was in fact Gloria Schulze, the elusive drunk driver who had fled the United States in the wake of her fatal crime. Gloria had successfully evaded the American justice system by adopting a new identity and starting a new life far from her past. In Yellowknife, she became a well-known figure admired for her work in organizing community fireworks shows and contributing to local events. She had blended into her new community far removed from the crime she had committed nearly 3 decades earlier. Upon learning of Gloria's new identity, Scottsdale investigators re-examined the case. They found that Gloria had been arrested again in 2009 in Yellowknife for a DUI, a glaring indication that her criminal history had followed her across borders. Despite this, the arrest did not prompt notification to the U.S. authorities or a connection to her past offenses. Gloria had managed to slip through the cracks, continuing her life under her new identity without the shadow of her past crimes catching up with her. The revelation of Gloria's new identity and her life in Canada stirred up a storm of emotions for the Mahar family. While Gloria Schulze had passed away before justice could be served, the discovery brought a semblance of closure to a case that had long seemed forgotten.